And thank you for watching this ag forecast for the western U.S. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. I'm going to start with the satellite picture here as the sun comes up across the lower 48. I'm going to talk about Sally just for a moment. We've got a Category 1 hurricane that's going to be making landfall here later on today across portions of the Florida Panhandle into southwestern Alabama, moving very slowly northwest at 2 miles per hour this morning. I also want to point out across parts of the central U.S., this milky shading that you're seeing here where we've got clear skies, that is wildfire smoke being blown by the polar jet stream from the west into parts of the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Corn Belt here this morning. And really, with the plume of that smoke being brought out across the Pacific Ocean over the weekend and late last week by the ridge of high pressure in that area, and now the plume of smoke being advected off to the northeast by the polar jet stream, we've got smoke covering an expanse of roughly 4,500 miles from the Pacific Ocean all the way to Newfoundland and Labrador here. Again, a distance of about 4,500 miles, and just a distance of about 2,000 miles from the fires here across the west to my location here in central Illinois, our office located in Champaign, Illinois. I was out walking with the dog with the family yesterday right around noon, and this was the view here in Illinois looking straight up at the sun. Again, no clouds in the forecast with high pressure in place across the Midwest. This is all wildfire smoke that you're seeing muting the sun. I know it's much worse across the West, but just to show you that we're even seeing dramatic smoke effects here in the Midwest. Now, I was also asked about some of the air quality issues here in the Midwest from the wildfire smoke blowing in from the west. And I found a cool map here. This is a cross-section of the smoke along the 45th parallel here, 45 degrees north, which runs roughly from Oregon to Wisconsin into the Great Lakes up here. So we're looking at the Pacific Northwest right here and a vertical cross-section here where you can see in the Pacific Northwest the smoke, obviously with the fires here, a lot of the smoke is trapped down near the lower levels of the atmosphere. Whereas as you head west toward the Midwest here in maybe, Illinois, Wisconsin, the smoke is actually 3,000 to 5,000 feet above our heads here. So while we're maybe seeing some minor impacts here, where maybe some of that smoke is being mixed down to the surface, and some of the morning, mixing and surface inversions could get some of that smoke trapped down near the surface, by and large, the air quality impact is far more severe across the West, across portions of California, western Nevada, and then up through portions of Oregon, Washington, even into British Columbia. We're seeing some of these dramatic smoke impacts, creating some of these hazardous breathing conditions across the Pacific Northwest. Today, elevated fire risk across portions of northeastern California, south central Oregon, and northwestern Nevada. Again, with some low humidity here. The saving grace is relatively calm winds across the area. So we've got low humidity. We're still on the periphery of that ridge right now, but the weaker wind speeds right now are going to, at least lead to less favorable conditions for these fires to quickly propagate in one direction or another. Even better news off toward the north, we're bringing at least some light rain into portions of Oregon and Washington, and we're going to start to ramp that up as we head into the middle and later part of the week. Better chances for some of that rainfall to make it inland. The reason it's being a little stubborn right now, why it feels almost like a bit of a tease, is because this low is kind of cut off across the Pacific Ocean. So we're getting some of this moisture being drawn in across the coast, but it's just kind of sitting there until we get this trough that's going to come in from the west and give it a bit of a nudge, and you can see it starting to happen there. Let me bring it back here. So this is today, taking it into now Wednesday, and then you see it give it a nice little shove here late week, Thursday, Friday, into Saturday, where that trough finally makes its way inland and crosses the west, moving into the Dakotas, finally kind of riding the polar jet out of here. And that will be finally removing this low that has actually been parked there for almost a week or two at this point, if not a little bit longer. I'm trying to think back here into the last couple of weeks, but at any rate, we'll look at the high-resolution name model. This will show the rain kind of teasing us over the next 24 to 36 hours before finally we get into Thursday, and I think we'll bring in a much more robust rain threat. So again, over the next 2.5 days, through the rest of today and through much of Wednesday, it's going to be a bit of a tease. At times, these little bands of showers making their way ashore here, bringing badly needed rainfall to the region, but it's as we get into Thursday, I think we're going to see much more in the way of organized rainfall making its way into Oregon and Washington, and then eventually expanding across the rest of the Northwest. So here's the total rainfall forecast. Again, just raw model output from the high-resolution NAM model between now and Thursday evening, showing that rain. Again, much of that making its way further inland as we get into the day on Thursday. And as I take a little bit of a wider, longer range look with the European model, we can watch the rain making its way onto much more inland as we get into the deeper part of the week into the weekend. So here we go again, glancing blows from some of these little bands of showers as we head through the day today into the day on Wednesday. Thursday, this cutoff low finally gets a bit more of a nudge from the polar jet here, starts to bring some of the more organized rainfall ashore. Western Oregon, Western Washington, finally picking up some of that badly needed rainfall here, especially late Thursday into Thursday night, taking it into the day on Friday night, and then starting to wane here as we head into the weekend, but still some light rain possible here as we head into the day on Saturday, maybe even into Saturday night before this low starts to pull away. It'll be ejecting out across the northern plains and the Canadian prairie as we get into Sunday night and Monday. So we'll step back, we'll look at the potential lightning here. This is something else I want to point out again as this low starts to make its way ashore and across the western U.S. We'll have to watch out for the potential for some dry lightning here across parts of Nevada, into southern Idaho, and parts of Utah as we get into Friday and Saturday. That's when that potential for lightning will be highest across the region, Friday into Saturday. Total precipitation between now and midnight on Saturday, so this takes the whole storm system making its way across the region. And again, you see some areas picking up as much as a half an inch of rainfall here, where that color table flips over to the blue shading. Again, that's right at half an inch here. So this would be wonderful again from far northwest California up through western portions of Oregon and Washington. Some badly needed rainfall here as we head into the end of the week and the weekend. This is the probability of picking up a half an inch or more of rainfall from the European ensemble model through Sunday. And again, where you see the red shading there, that's where we've got a better than 90% chance of getting that half of an inch of rainfall. And again, fairly high probabilities across western Oregon, western Washington, with the bulk of that rain arriving Thursday and Friday, tapering off during the day on Saturday. We're going to keep the heat going here across the west until we get into the weekend, as that trough starts to make its way across the region here on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We will start to cool off across the west. Again, here's a look at your high temperatures today, 80s and 90s for many. We'll even turn the heat up just a little bit more Wednesday and Thursday. Here comes the cool air from the west, though, as we head into Friday and Saturday with cooler temperatures, highs in the 70s for many folks on Saturday afternoon.